Good morning. This is Susan, and this is Susan's Ramblings. We are going to do something different today, and I'm not looking at you. I don't know what I'm doing, okay? I'm looking up at my notes. Um, we're going to take this chapter, this channel, in a different way. Yes, I'm going to still leave recipes, because that is what my strength is. Frugal recipes. Recipes that I have used for years in order to cut down on my expenses, and it's getting harder and harder to do every day. But here are some. I have a list of a bunch of cheap meals and cheap hints that you can use anywhere and for anything. You know, I do a lot of research, and even if my research doesn't come out to you, it means that I have done it, and it doesn't come out as research. It'll come out as hints, as tips, as something like that, as rather than going to say I researched this and blah blah blah. Anyway, but that's the way it comes out. Anyway, the things I've been researching, especially in this day and age, are cheap meals, cheap things that I can do with what I have in my stockpile, or with things that I can easily get. And that's getting harder and harder each day. Although in our area, we haven't had much of the shortages that you've had. Now, I don't know why. I have no idea why. But then I don't live in a city that has Walmart. I don't have Costco. I don't have Sam's Club. All I have is a local grocery store and Dollar General. That's where I do most of my grocery shopping, just simply because I am unable to drive because of health problems, and I can easily take what we call a community bus to those places and get my things. Or if I don't do that, I will order it for delivery. Okay, and I do a lot of online ordering too. But anyway, all that's to say, getting back to my cheap meals, okay? Number one, canned ham. I don't know. Those hams are getting harder and harder to get. And the little hams, the 1 pound hams. The last time I looked on Walmart, and that was just a few minutes ago, 2 hams for $45. That's 2 pounds of meat, of ham, for $45. Now that is quite ridiculous. So I would say if you find any ham, and Walmart also had, they don't anymore, they had the canned hams on sale, not the big 1 pound things, but they had the little cans on sale. But they're out now too, so maybe Amazon would have them. But if you have those things in your thing, you can use your canned hams and add eggs and add cheese. And for an omelet, you can have scalloped potatoes and ham. You can use it with all kinds of things, okay? So that's one thing. Corned beef. A lot of you don't like corned beef. I'm not crazy about it, but I can eat it if the taste is covered up. And I have a lot of foods where I can eat it if the taste is covered up, such as green beans. When I was younger, and I mean I was 14, 15, 16 years old, something like that, I helped my mother can over 300 quarts of green beans. Now that was an average day, and I don't know why I got roped into it or why I ended up helping her with that many, because generally that's the only year I can remember us doing it. And anyway, I got sick of green beans, and I mean literally sick of green beans. For many years, I could not even look at a green bean. But once I discovered green bean casserole, And remember, 50 years ago, we didn't have green bean casserole. We had just plain green beans. And so for years and years, I avoided the green beans. But anyway, that's about like corned beef. But I can eat it if we cover it up, if we cover up the taste. Corned beef, you mix with mayo and celery, onions for sandwich bread. You can do that with any kind of meat for sandwich bread. Plain old bologna. You can get a package of that for $1, I believe, or you could at Walmart. I don't know if it still is. But you can mix that with your onions, your mayo, your celery, your whatever you want add, and your relishes, your pickles, and make a sandwich out of that too. In fact, one time I was serving over at the center, and I made bologna sandwiches, and I don't remember what the other one was, but it was a more expensive sandwich, and guess which one went? The bologna sandwiches, and everybody thought it was a ham sandwiches. And of course, I never told anybody any different. So my ham sandwiches, which would have cost so much more than my bologna sandwiches, were the hit of the store, of the night. And they were bologna sandwiches, period. So you can do all kinds of things with those foods if you think out of the box. Another thing for corned beef is milk gravy. That milk gravy, you make a white sauce with butter and flour and with your milk, and put your corned beef in it, and then you serve it over toast or over biscuits. Okay, and you make sure you have lots of black pepper there. I'm also going to say lots of salt because I have to have the salt and the seasonings in when you have a white sauce. All right, the next one would be diced tomatoes. There's several things here with diced tomatoes. Season it with your Italian seasoning, and you sweeten it with sugar or molasses. Molasses, remember, is a sweetener, and it will last longer than most sweeteners. Sugar, though, will last forever if it's processed right, and prepared if it's stored right, I should say. And even if it gets hard, you can still knock it off. Or there is a YouTube channel out that shows us how to make rock salt and rock sugar. And it's simple. You just boil it. Put it in water until it won't dissolve anymore. You put it in your oven for, I think, at 200 degrees, something like that, for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Take it out. You pour it into ice cube trays. Let it set, and you have rock salt or rock sugar. And then all you do is knock off what you need. You don't have to worry about it spilling all over the place, and it's much easier to transport if you need it. Also much easier to store because it doesn't take as much space. Okay, diced tomatoes. Forgot that. I got off on the other things. Season it with Italian seasonings, your sugar or your molasses in order to cut the acid taste, and add grated carrots and beef bouillon, 1/4 of a cube, not a whole cube of beef bouillon, but 1/4 of a cube, and that will make a big difference. And then have your spaghetti sauce out of a simple diced tomatoes, or you can use tomato sauce in the same way. Another one you can do with diced tomatoes, you add coconut milk and Indian spices such as the curry and so forth, and you also have a sauce for your vegetables and for your beans, I should say. Okay, dry soup mixes. When you make them, use broth instead of water. Broth will give you extra nutrition, and you add your tomatoes, but vegetables such as tomatoes and elbow macaroni, rice, etc., to stretch them. to make them feed more. Okay, the last thing there's a couple more here. Pine needle tea. Did you know that? Did you know that if you go get a handful of pine needles and wash them, and then you steep them in a quart of hot water for 15, 20 minutes, and you will have a pine needle tea. It is also very good. It has lots of vitamin C in it, and so it's very good for your health. That's something to keep in mind. Corned beef hash, again, you can stir fry it with sauteed onions, diced tomatoes, and you serve over rice or something like that. And I'm looking over because I've got my notes there. You can think outside of the box. Now, I've given you several things with corned beef. Make sandwiches out of it, melt gravy over it, and this last one, stir fried. Cut it into strips and little pieces, and you stir fry it with your veggies and your diced tomatoes, and serve it over rice. You got a meal. You've stretched a meal a long ways. Okay. So I'm sorry I'm moving these things back and forth. That's going to be it for today. I have a list of 35 or 40 different hints, but I'm not going to come at you all at the same time. So we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. God bless you. Goodbye.